I remember there was one guy, he would work with these big companies and he didn't really sell very hard, but when they hire him, he would just be like, yeah, so the first way that we work together is we have a beautiful conversation, or something. He'd call it beautiful conversation.
Yeah.
So we sit down for like a few hours and I just learned about you and stuff. £1,000 rule for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then it's like a 12-month kind of contract where you pay him like £1,000 a month every month to like, just like think about what you should be doing.
And bro, that night we were up until like 2, 3 a.m. all breaking down each other's sort of faults in a very beneficial way. Bro, I left that gathering. I felt like they literally broke me apart piece by piece and laid me bare on the table.
So in the world, there is the reality, yes. However, 90-something% of what we think is in the world is not the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only Allah knows the true objective reality of the world. As for us, what we have is meaning. Yeah. Okay. Yay. I'm actually going to use that.
Just getting the thumbnail in.
Okay. So now look, I made this while waiting for you.
Oh, you copied me.
Yes. You inspired me.
My wife made mine.
I wasn't actually going to have an iced coffee today because, you know, iced coffee needs more sugar than hot coffee, right? For it to taste sweet. And I did my blood work a couple of weeks ago. And one of the sugar numbers, like hemoglobin, one of the hemoglobin measures, which are apparently to do with sugar, was it was like just a bit high, really. But when I spoke to the doctor about it, he's like, no, that's not like close to diabetes. That's not to do with type 2 diabetes, but it could be type 1 diabetes. So he said you should do that whole test, you know, where you drink the glucose kind of drink, and then you do it on an empty stomach, and then half an hour later, I think they measure your the levels in your blood to see if you have insulin resistance. So he said, you know, that would be a good kind of test to do if you want to check that out. Look into that, yeah.
Heck, I need to do some of these tests.
Yeah,
I didn't have it
really
with
good, man.
I had it with sweetener, you know, because I'm bougie.
I bought sweetener, you know, for the first time. I bought sweetener like last week, but it tastes awful.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
But what kind of sweetener do you use?
Oh God, let me get it for you.
Okay.
This is a sponsored segment of the My Nice podcast.
Yeah, just by coincidence, you're drinking that coffee.
It's red, not orange. My lighting makes it look orange. It's Canderel, and it is oh God. It's got maltodextrin and aspartame.
Oh, aspartame. Okay, so that's what okay. I guess maybe that stuff tastes better or tastes more neutral than, because I got stevia.
I don't like stevia.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan.
But apparently it's like, I got it because like people told me it's the most natural kind of one, but then it has a taste, I suppose.
Just responding to my mother who's calling me. Mothers come first, guys. Mothers come first. Heist, I'll call you back ASAP. There we go. It's because I called her earlier, you see.
All right.
She didn't pick up. Oh.
So
Anyway, what's new in the aminosphere?
yeah, I got my blood work done, bro. I got low iron as well.
You did your blood work for any particular reason, or just because you thought, let me splash some cash on these adverts that are always on our YouTube feed, trying to get us to spend money on. There's one called Newman.
Okay. No, man.
If we find nothing, you get your money back. That's the advert.
Oh, really? I don't get ads in it, and I'm in Turkey, so I wouldn't understand the ads if I did get them. But, you know, it's just something that I always, you know, being like into, having followed Tim Ferriss for like a decade or something, it's something like he's always talking about, and he gets done like every 3 months or 6 months. And then I would hear other people doing this, and, you know, it makes sense because you can actually detect things early. Like, for example, my friend that I did he also did the work. He basically found that he's in diabetes level of sugar levels, yeah. like meaning he might not have diabetes, but he's got the sugar level of a person with diabetic. So these kind of things, like, and that was actually a big wake up call for him, and he kind of like went a bit hardcore with cutting sugar and stuff since then.
Yeah.
So these things are good, you know.
I suppose so, yeah, because you won't know until you do. It's like when I got this watch, bro. I don't know if I ever mentioned about like all the heart stuff that I had going on, or still particularly have going on. Did I mention it on Mind Heist? I don't want to repeat myself.
I don't think so. Like details of
So I bought
heart
this
rate
watch,
and stuff.
didn't I? Maybe like a year ago now, and then so it measures my pulse quite. It measures it throughout the day.
Does it measure
resting heart rate.
HRV as well?
What's that?
I think it's heart rate variability kind of thing.
Oh, yes, but I think you have to.
I read that that's like the most important metric for your heart or something.
Yeah, I think it does that, but only when you ask it to, as opposed to doing it on the background.
Oh, got it.
But yeah, so it kept measuring my resting heart rate is quite low, and it just kept dipping, especially these months. So this time last year, June, July, it dipped so much that my watch kept buzzing me that my heart rate was too low, which is like, oh, this is a bit weird.
Yeah.
And then like anything I looked online was like, oh, you're meant to have a heart rate of like 60 to 80 on average, resting heart rate.
Yeah.
Well, the doctors are going to be screaming in the chat now, but this is what I saw online. And this is what I was told by the
for
doctors.
your age group, Yanni, 60 to 80.
In general, I think average.
Oh.
Unless you're like a super athlete, then you can have a really low resting heart rate. And I'm not a super athlete.
So you're below 60.
Oh, bro, I'm like 42 average, 40 average.
I think you just got a lazy heart. It's a condition called lazy heart syndrome.
El heart al lazies. Yes. No, of course, and but that's combined with like chest pain that I've had for like 10, 15 years. So I'd get chest pain like randomly, like someone stabbing me in the chest, and then I would get it as well when I'm exercising. But so those combinations plus Dr. Hamza, who's been on the Mind Heist podcast before, he's like my go-to guy for this stuff.
Yeah.
So one night in my old flat, I was having a bit of an episode, and he was like, "Bro, you need to call the ambulance." Anyway, called the ambulance. They did my ECG. They were like, "Yeah, it's kind of low. Let's take you to the hospital." So I went to the hospital, and they were like, "Yeah, you're right. It might just be genetics." They didn't really seem to worry about the chest pain at all because it's been going on for so long. And it's not, I think, based on the... So anyway, a year went past. NHS was meant to refer me and all this stuff, but it never happened. It fell through. It's just picked up again now. So when I came back from Tunisia, I went to the doctor. I was like, you know what? I'm going to find out about this referral I was meant to have last year. And doctor was like, oh, it's fine. It's probably just genetics that you've got really low resting heart rate. And the chest pain, I don't think it's anything to do with your heart. He said something to do with like an inflammation of the rib cage or something along those lines. Anytime you're feeling pain here, bro, you're like, okay, I don't know what's happening. But you want to make sure, you know. And then obviously, not obviously, but it started doing it again. So at the same time this year, it seems to be like a summer thing so far. Just it happened again a couple of days ago where it buzzed me saying I've got a low heart rate. I'm looking at the average again, and it kind of, I've got a graph on my thing for the year, so it kind of goes up, but it never goes beyond 50. Like the maximum we'll ever hit is like 49. Anyway, what I was trying to get to was that the other day I got a random text message from the NHS that was like, "Oh, you need to come to the hospital. Call this number to book an appointment." Like, why? Last time I spoke to the doctor, he said it was fine. And then I called up and they were like, yeah, you need to go to have an ECG done, which is essentially where they put all this stuff on you and they measure your heart on a proper big machine. That was a week ago. So I went in and then they had to shave my chest. I'm not even that hairy. Yeah, but I was expecting it. The guy was just like, right, come here. And now I've got like these weird patches. I need to sort it out.
It's going to grow back thicker now.
It's going to look weird, man. It looks weird now, to be honest. I just completely forgot to kind of sort it out. But that's another story for another day. But then they gave me the results in a sealed envelope. They didn't even tell me about it. And they said, take this back to your GP. So I got a bus all the way back to my GP with this sealed envelope. Like, What does this say? What does it mean? But yeah, waiting to hear. I haven't heard anything yet. But it is
Right.
interesting. This, but a lot of this is going into what's the word? Into like into people's own hands. Let me share this, and we'll have a little exploration of this website because I see it advertised all the time, and I'm kind of curious about it.
Newman. Okay.
Right. So the helpful healthcare company. This is not a sponsored segment once again. Obviously, the main thing up here is erectile dysfunction. You've got hair loss. You've got personalized supplements. This is the blood test that I always see advertised. The pumping the ads for this all the time.
Fear
So
nothing
it's
blood
like
test.
I must say, from a graphic design standpoint, I really like the layout.
Solid, yeah.
It's really
Okay.
nice.
So what's
So
this? If all your results fall within the normal range, then you can claim a full refund from £98. God damn.
otherwise, build quarterly.
Build quality. Okay. So
Oh,
it's
what,
like
you
a
have to like
subscription.
Oh, you have to like commit to it. I didn't know that. So you get a personalized review by a UK clinician, screening for up to 21 biomarkers. This is just like, let me just put some big words in here. Complete at home, results in 3 to 5 days, secure, encrypted, and accurate testing. So this is the sort of stuff that you would have concerns for.
Yes.
Tiredness, weight changes, low mood, insomnia, hormone imbalances,
Yeah.
vitamin deficiency, high cholesterol, erectile dysfunction, and high blood sugar. And then the important, okay, I'm not going to read out all those biomarkers. They're all acronyms, and
Yeah.
testosterone's in there, cholesterol's in there, everything else.
Okay. I actually didn't get my testosterone tested. I'm curious about it, but no. A good one is what's it called? Free T4.
3T4, is that up here?
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is to do with the thyroid, right? So, like for
Okay.
example, if you're having like energy issues, feeling tired a lot, it could be your thyroid. So that's good. And my actually either LDL or HDL, those are cholesterol, I think markers. One, the good cholesterol, whichever one that is, mine was a bit low on mine, just a little bit, but that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be all trusted. Here's the people, and it seems to be
Yeah.
very much advertised towards men. Obviously
Yeah.
they're going to try. Oh, there's like an app or some sort of thing. It looks like an
Yeah.
app.
Yeah. Actionable results. I like.
Yeah, it's just that number one.
Bro, let me see the
sometimes-
pricing of this. How's the actual pricing work?
Or let's get started, shall we? Let's get started. So let's
Okay.
say I want to look at the
Do the
blood
fear
testing.
nothing. Yeah, blood test. Okay. Next. So, what's the?
What?
That's per biomarker. Forget that.
What does that even mean? I don't want per biomarker. I want it all.
Yeah, 21 biomarkers. Cool. Continue, I guess. Okay, here we go.
God.
So £98 per test or £128 per test.
Oh, and to get the diabetes risk, which is probably what we're all after as well,
Yeah.
we'd have to pay that. I mean, do you know what? As long as it's not a subscription, I'm not too fussed. Like, you could do this as a bit of like an MOT.
I'll wait till I
Every
tell you
year.
how much I paid for mine.
Oh, God.
Then you won't be happy with £128.
Let's stop sharing and you can tell me.
But you know that per test thing? Wait, how do we get this back? Yeah.
go.
So the per test. I think that. But what about the quarterly thing it mentioned? Like, it's like
I don't know what
it's
that
billed
is.
quarterly, which means maybe you do one test every 3 months.
You can add a phone. I'm just clicking forwards. You can add a phone consultation for an extra £40.
Okay, good, clever.
Yeah. It seems
So I
to
guess
be
it's
good.
going to be about £400 a year because you're supposed to do it every 3 months, maybe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, it says you can claim a refund within 90 days, so maybe every 3 months. Plus, they're upselling you with testosterone supplements and deep sleep supplements and all this stuff as well.
It's a good business model, actually.
It is, if it's, I'm sure there's reviews and stuff online. I don't know
Yeah.
what that thing was, though. I don't know. I mean, they're
So
clearly not very
mine,
clear with
which
this.
I think I would have got at least 21 biomarkers, maybe a bit more than that. I paid like, the equivalent of £35 for that.
35.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I've just seen it. So the final price it says here for that premium one,
Yeah.
whatever we saw, it says £128/quarterly.
Per quarter, okay. So it's like 500 a year, basically.
No thanks. No,
No, I mean, look, bro, like,
no.
if you've got the money, then it's worth spending on your health. And then the next question is, okay, is this going to contribute to my health? And I think, yeah, I think because a lot of illnesses and problems you have show up in your blood work, right? So it makes sense, I think, you know.
I mean, I would do it once or when I could afford it. I'd pay 128.
Would you pay £35 a quarter for it?
Yeah.
Because that's like 140 a year.
But well, yours was what, in Turkey, I guess?
Yeah, yeah.
That's it, man. I need to get them Turkish doctors.
Yeah, yeah.
What if I send you a tube of my blood and you submit it?
Yeah, wow.
Now-
And the good
now
thing
we've
is,
got
though, that
business.
I could pick and choose as well. So if I did less tests, it would have been cheaper. Or I could do an even more thorough one, which would have been like £50. So, you know, someone also was telling me that you can go to some clinic he knew of here in Turkey. You can do like a full thing where you do the blood work and also you do that whole thing, you know, like the footballers do when they're like, they get on the treadmill, you put the mask on so they test your, what's that, VO2 max or whatever.
Mine sucks. My
Never
watch
done
measures
that.
as
You,
well.
when's the last time you did that test?
I don't know. It just does it on my watch. It's obviously I don't know how.
Oh, it can calculate VO2 max without the whole breathing thing.
Yeah, so like mine has always been really bad. The problem is it only measures it on outdoor activity, and 90% of my runs have all been indoors on a treadmill as of recent.
How does it know that?
You can do it does some sort of oxygen check on here, so I don't know how
Oh,
it
right.
does
It can see the oxygen content of your blood from the color
Yeah.
of it or something.
Possibly. But
Bro,
mine's
this stuff is
low,
quite
man.
sick, man. This is the future of medicine, like customized medicine, where
Gamification of it all, isn't it? I love it.
also that, yeah, the whole using technology for behavior change. I was looking at, you know, Noom. You've probably seen ads for Noom as well.
I feel like. Am I thinking of? Oh yeah, possibly. Noom. Let me see. Oh yeah. I've seen this.
Yeah, so Noom, I found out today that Noom is worth over $1 billion as a company. And from what I understand, it's basically an app that helps you change your behavior in terms of dieting, right? And exercise maybe as well. It has coaching built into it. But a lot of the, I guess, value behind it is the psychology of behavior change. Like they've done a lot of thinking around that and like how to use technology to help you change your behavior and therefore become more healthy. So this, I like this stuff, bro. I'm kind of interested in this.
Yeah, it works. Absolutely. Stuff like that works, man. I use my Fitness Pal for a lot of stuff. Oh, God, I've spent a lot of episodes of Mind Heist talking about all the crazy and wild things I've done.
Yeah.
You know, did I tell you about the last time I tried a water fast a few weeks ago or a couple
Yeah.
months ago?
Did you
Bro,
say you
I
nearly
thought I was gonna
fainted or
die.
something?
Oh, I'd never felt so ill in my life. I kid you not. I'm not even exaggerating. Because I'd done it before.
Yeah.
And I seemed to be fine. Like I lasted 10 days or something.
Yeah.
This time, I think I was like on my third or fourth day. I want to say third day.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know what happened. I felt disgusting on like another level. I could not survive it.
You did, I believe, like 30 hours or something?
Oh yeah, I didn't do that long, and I compared to before, and I was like, "Whoa, why can't I handle this? This is horrendous." I gave up. I was like, "No, it's not worth it, bro." I'm not doing keto anymore partly because cost of living became so expensive, and trying to
Keto's not that cheap. Yeah.
it's not cheap at all because you're going to need fats, you're going to need meat, and 9 times out of 10 when you've got no money, you look in the fridge and you've got pasta,
Carb.
you've got carbs, you've got bread, easy stuff, cheap stuff.
Kushari, basically.
Yeah, man. So
Have you
I
had
stopped doing
kushari
that.
before?
I have. I really like it.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. Now though, what I'm doing now is working, but it's just really slow. But that probably means it's sustainable, because I'm not really thinking about it. Because I finally got access to the gymnasium in my apartment complex after a year, I literally step outside of this balcony and it's a 30-second walk and I'm in the gym, which is great.
Yeah.
Now, it's not 24 hours, which sucks, even though it's all enclosed. But it closes at 9 o'clock, so I've still got all the time in the world. I could have a lunch break from work or something, go for a 30-minute treadmill run, to go, come back. Really, really straightforward, really easy. I'm trying to incorporate that around 4 to 5 times a week. It's kind of averaging at about 4.
That's
I'll just
solid.
go in there. Thing is, I'm not going in there with like, oh, I need to do a whole workout or whatever. I go in there, get on the treadmill, 40 minutes run, 20, 30-minute run. I'm back out, done.
No
But then
weights at all, yeah?
I haven't done in a while because I don't
We'll
know
do the
why.
easy stuff first, innit?
Well, it's weight loss, isn't it? And I'm focusing on that really because
I always learned that weight training is the best for weight loss.
um, I don't think it burns as much calories.
Really?
No,
But
not
like
at all.
in like if you're lifting like heavy weights in a shorter period of time, you're gonna burn the same as like walking or jogging for a long time. No?
But if you're lifting weights too quickly,
Yeah.
you're not building up that much strength because it's the chances are the weights that you're lifting are too light for you. Do you understand what I mean?
I
So
get
like,
that.
let's
Yeah.
say if you're lifting, I don't know, I don't even want to put a
80
weight. If you're
kilo
lifting
bench press.
if you're lifting something low and you can
No.
do it, you can drop it, and then 5 seconds later you're back at it again. Well, you're fine. But if you're doing like you're near your max, you're not going to be able to lift again until at least 30 seconds have passed or a
Yeah.
minute have passed or something.
Okay. What's
But
wrong with that?
well, it's not. It's not going to be. Your heart rate is going to go down when you're
Oh
resting.
yeah, it's not intense basically. That's
It's
what
not
you're saying.
intense, so you're not going to burn that
But
many
does
calories.
intensity matter for how much calories you're using to lift that weight?
I mean, I've looked it up, and everything I've seen is like I looked up. What did I look up comparatively? I looked up walking. I looked up running. I looked like comparatively looked up walking, running. What's the other one with the weird sticks and they go up and down? It's the elliptical machine.
Okay.
Because I went through a phase of using that, even though I looked silly, but I actually kind of enjoyed it. And it came on top that jogging is always better. Jogging
Wow.
is always the most that's going to burn the most calories. I think stuff like this obviously overestimates how much you burn anyway. Like for me, it's like, 20 minutes is 200 calories or 250 around that
Yeah.
mark. I always try and aim for 400, but I'm noticing that the better I get and the more I do it, the less calories I burn each time, which is really frustrating because I think my heart rate isn't as going as high each time.
Let's see.
But all of that is not disregarding the diet. And when I say diet, I'm eating whatever I want and it's great. But as long as it's in a caloric deficit, and that's the key. So I've been doing that for like maybe a month or two. I don't know how long. I think I started in May and it's June, July. Yeah. So mid May. Now it's July, mid July. So it's going to be 2 months. Should we see how much weight I've lost? Should we see?
Go on.
Should we see? Oh my God. The
We can cut this
anticipation
out.
is killing me.
We can cut this
my.
bit out, bro.
It doesn't. Oh God. Oh God. This isn't very good. I mean, the graph is kind of. It used to say how much you've lost, but they've updated the app and it sucks. I can show you a graph. Shall I show you just the graph from here?
Go on.
Can you see all of this? Can you see? Oh,
It's
God.
gone now.
Oh, my bad. There you go. Can you see that? Can you see all
That
the ups and
looks
downs?
solid, bro.
But that's from a year. No, that's
1 year.
that's from I started.
Yes.
That is from that's from 1st of April 2021. So you could see you see the sharp dips.
Yeah.
Especially that one just there. So that last sharp dip there.
Yes.
Where is it? That one.
Yeah.
So I just got onto keto.
Yes.
I dropped all the way down. I went to Tunisia where all you can eat is bread. I went up. But then this slow dip that you're seeing now at the end, it's hard
Yeah.
to see. You
That's
see
a
it slowly
decent
going down.
drop, though. Yeah.
There you go. So that slow dip is now what I've been doing, which is
Yeah. I mean, that looks decent as well.
But you can see how much more sustainable it looks. That
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
as opposed to the sharp dips.
That's a good
you see-
example of what happens with keto.
Yeah. All those sharp dips that you see are all keto or some, funky diet thing or whatever. But it's taken a long time to lose all of that. And when I started, bro, I was like 107, which is nuts. And now, it's now I'm 94. And in my prime back at college, I was 75 Can't wait to hear that again.
It's very doable.
Inshallah.
I just remembered there's this meme my wife shared with me. It's like, comparing how women talk to each other about weight and stuff. So it's like a woman asks her friend, how do I look? Like, do I look fat or something? And then her friend's like, oh no, you look beautiful, this and that. Then a guy asks his friend, do I look fat? He's like, bro, I know 5 fat people and you're 4 of them.
Bro, all of my friends poke fun at each other's weight all the time. It's probably what makes me so self-conscious about it. I mean, I'm not that self-conscious, but I will take it on board and be like, all right, I need to do something about this.
I mean, when you've got, I guess, youngish friends, then that's like fine and stuff. I mean, in a way, it's good to have that stigma, if you like, right, of bad things. But I would imagine, like, when you and your group of friends are 35, 40 and all that, you're all going to be fat and no one's going to criticize it because everyone's fat kind of thing. And then it's not good, innit? You need some friends, like David Goggins.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we've got, in my circle, we've got like a few quite famous Muslim personal trainers. We've got a couple of single brothers that are very much into the gym. And then the rest are married with kids. Some of them are holding on. Some of them think they've held on. Some of them definitely haven't held on. They all like to talk about each other, but don't realize if they looked in the mirror. And the ones that are like obviously personal trainers are still very fit and active. One of them actually he's married. He's got a child now, and we're all like waiting for him to fall because we're like, come on, bro, it's gonna happen. That's it now. You're married. You got kids. You're gonna go down the path. And he's refusing. Like he's stuck on his way. Like he really wants to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's part of his like identity. Like
absolutely,
this is who I am.
Absolutely, 100% his identity.
That's like one of the biggest reasons that people have certain behaviors or don't have. It's just what they think of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's in the whole Atomic Habits book. He talks about the best thing you could do to establish a habit or a behavior or whatever is just to have the identity of a person.
So that moves me on actually a little bit more into like another discussion about what's the phenomenon called? Imposter syndrome. That's the one.
Yeah.
So like, for example, let's say the graphic design stuff that I'm trying to do, right?
Yeah.
For a long time, I had this thing about like, I can't call myself graphic designer. I'm just not good enough, Like, I see all this work I do and stuff. And then it got me thinking about what you just said, the identity psychology and actually at what point do you become good enough to label yourself? And then I just thought, and probably maybe I picked it up from that, maybe I picked it up from other stuff I listened to, but it was that thought of like, heck, no, I'm just going to call myself this thing and that's what I'm going to be. Because, I told you off camera that I was building up my LinkedIn profile and all this stuff and I was struggling to put, because it forces you to put like a headline for yourself, right? And it's like that struggle of like, am I this thing that I say I am? Or am I just not there yet?
Yeah.
And a couple of days ago, I was speaking to brother Muhammad, who we've been on his podcast, but has he been on here? I can't remember.
Muhammad, that Muhammad, yeah.
Yes.
I think we published that episode on both podcasts.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thanks. Well, he was having a discussion with me about it, and then he started reeling off some of the stuff that I've done almost in a CV form, but he didn't mean, like, he wasn't doing it to tell me what to write. He was just doing it off the cuff. Yeah. And then when I heard it spoken back to me, I was like, yeah, I did do all of those things. Do you know what I mean? Like Pure XI, for example, a lot of the graphic design work I've done, even some of the work we've done on Mind Heist, all of that kind of creative stuff, which I never say I've got a qualification for. I haven't been officially taught any of that.
Yeah.
When he repeated it all, I was like, oh, do you know what? No, I'm gonna own this. And so I owned it, and I put that as a title, and I think that's how it starts, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is actually, I've been working on some stuff around, you could call it mindset, recently, and I feel like I've got the formula. I've cracked the code, right? I've got the ultimate kind of toolkit for how to just do the things or become the things that you want to become, and you can't seem to do it, right? And the fundamental kind of formula of it is that, okay, how do I explain this? So in the world, there is the reality. Yes. However, 90 something percent of what we think is in the world is not the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only Allah knows the true objective reality of the world, of like what I'm doing, what this is doing, why that tree fell, all of that. Allah knows that. As for us, what we have is meaning, right? So we see an event happen, we see an object, we hear someone say something. We're not just hearing what they said. We are taking the event or the words they said and we add meaning to it. Yeah. So our lens of the world is based on the sunglasses that we are wearing. Yes. So therefore, once you understand that everything is kind of subjective, right? It kind of goes to like what that the Matt Walsh thing of like truth, your truth, his
Oh,
truth.
right.
It kind of goes to that, but I do fundamentally believe this is true. That everything, bro, like when some like you know you've been married for a long time, right? You know that your wife could say something to you and you interpret it meaning one thing, but she meant it another way. And just from that, you can have a disagreement. You could have two people go on a roller coaster. One person gets off feeling excited. I love that. Was amazing. The other person's like, oh, I'm never going again. Right.
Yep.
And feeling anxious about it. But the reality is the same. They went on the same roller coaster. They're both human beings, this and that. But the message, the meaning that they gave it is different. Yeah. You could have identical twins. One thinks they're confident, they're beautiful. One thinks they're ugly, but they look exactly the same. So the reality is one thing, but the meaning we give is different. So where does meaning come from? Meaning comes from our worldview. Where does our worldview come from? Our worldview comes from the stories, the beliefs, our past, our emotional baggage, all of this, the inputs, the things we read, the things we listen to. So that's where it starts. So how do you change your worldview? How do you change the meaning you give things to have meaning that helps you, that serves you, right? So for example, like I want to believe I'm a good graphic designer as an identity. I want to believe I'm good at it. I want to believe that I'm competent enough to charge people for it. Oh, listen to this guy, man.
Whoa.
Got the window open.
Turkish speed.
Yeah. How do I give the meaning to things that will serve me? Well, you have to go to the beginning of what created your worldview, which is those inputs, which is the beliefs, the values, the things you hear and see. And what you want to do is kind of program yourself to believe those things. So this, you'll probably be skeptical of this, but I believe this is how it will work. So, you know, like imagine, I don't know if you ever watched Dexter's Lab. Did you ever watch Dexter's Lab? Okay. So Dexter's Lab, there's that one episode where he's learning French and he's playing in the earphones, like all these French conversations. And one day he goes to sleep and it's just playing that omelette du fromage, omelette du fromage.
Omelette du fromage.
Absolutely.
I love that.
So what he was doing is basically he was programming himself with a language. Okay, but it got stuck on one phrase. So then all he could say was omelette du fromage, right? You can do the same with your beliefs, with your inputs. So imagine every day you wake up and you say, I am a graphic designer, just saying that as a basic idea. Now, whether you are or not, it doesn't matter. You're feeding yourself the inputs and the belief that you are a graphic designer. Eventually, that's going to influence your worldview, which will influence the meaning you give things, which will influence who you ultimately are, right? So that's like a summary of it. And I truly believe this. And anything that you want to achieve, you need to program yourself to do that or to think that way or to be that way by simply like having that input going into your head all the time. Quran is a version of programming as well. Like you're programming yourself to have certain beliefs about Allah because Allah repeats what you should believe about him in the Quran all the time. So you read that. Another element is like visualization, where it's like you could, for example, you could close your eyes and visualize a client sending you, sending over like £500 for a job, right? You could visualize that. And just by visualizing that, that again is feeding into your worldview, which is feeding into the meaning, which is feeding into who you are. So yeah, actually, I'll just add another story, right? So when it comes to visualization, real experiment was done in the 70s, I believe, three groups of people, basketball players. They tested like how their conversion rate, basically, of free throws. And then after they tested how good they were, then they divide them into three groups, and they said, okay, group A, every day for 30 days, you're going to practice free throws for an hour. Group B, you're going to visualize doing free throws every day. And group C, you're going to do nothing. You're not going to practice. So group A, they improved their conversion rate. After 30 days, they improved their conversion rate by 24%. How much do you think group B increased their conversion rate by?
No idea.
24%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, actually it's 23%, right? But same thing, basically.
Yeah, same thing.
And group C, they didn't improve at all. Same as before. So what that tells you, obviously it's just one experiment, but maybe there are other examples. It shows you that visualization is almost equal to practice. Obviously, you have to do visualization properly. There's a way to do it. But just closing your eyes and visualizing yourself doing certain things, your brain almost doesn't know the difference between that and practice. And therefore, it will, again, feed into your worldview, which will feed into who you actually become and who you are. So
I think there's a lot to be said about that and that phenomenon, because I've realized that I think everybody's got some sort of what's the word, affinity for some sort of skill or something, even if they don't believe that they do. And it's, if you can close your eyes and visualize it, like you said. Like, I'll give you an example. I remember when I started really getting into this graphic design stuff, maybe a year to 6 months ago. I kid you not, I could close my eyes and all I would have is flashes of like posters or pieces I wanted to make. And it was, I remember being so flabbergasted at this phenomenon that I could just do that. I could close my eyes, be like, this is exactly what I want to make. Okay, I'm going to make it, without having to like
you weren't on
think
LSD at all, were you?
No. But I don't know if you've ever, it's different to drawing. Like, have you ever tried to draw something and like, with me, when I try and draw something, whatever's in my head is really too murky because I don't have that skill for it. So I really struggle transferring any thought onto paper because the thought isn't really there. But with this stuff, with like poster design, graphic design and stuff, it's like I can just close my eyes and see it like clear exactly what I want to make, and I'll go for it. And it led me thinking into other sort of creative works as well. And if people have affinities for that kind of stuff, like, you know, can you visualize something so clearly and then produce it, just how it needs to be done? And I think there's something to be said for that as well. And I think, they talk about, there's some psychological studies into like creative brains and academic brains, and that's split as well. I don't know how true that is, but the left brain and right brain and all that stuff that we were taught as kids. And there's definitely something there, isn't there? There's definitely something to be said for this kind of study. So yeah, if there's theories like this and they're working for people, then apply them. If it benefits you, then apply it. It goes with the territory of self-esteem with practicing Muslims. Someone starts practicing and then shaitan within them telling them, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're going to do this now. You're not that. You know what I mean? Stop pretending. It's that imposter syndrome, so to speak. You've got to push through that because it's easy for you to slip back in your old ways if you justify your sins by saying you're a bad person anyway and you can never be a practicing individual. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I started practicing, I remember absolutely getting comments from people locally like, oh, now you want to start practicing. Oh, you were doing this and you were doing that and you were in this crowd and blah, blah, blah. And like, people didn't believe in you. People just thought it was a phase or a joke or, it's pathetic. But alhamdulillah, 10 years later, I'd like to think that I stuck firm on that. But it's easy. And you see people do it, dipping in and out. And I do remember, subhanAllah, some people that were like, definitely some brothers that I knew that were on the road life, drug dealers and all sorts of stuff. They would try. I remember like one brother, for example, he became Muslim, but he had a very, I don't want to say fruitful, but it's very colorful criminal history. And I think maybe because of that negative sort of feedback he was getting from people, at least in his circle, that were like, oh, what you talk about, like, oh, you're about this, but you're about that. That he kind of found it easier to fall back into that, And if you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe this is a new you, so to speak, or a progression of who you are, you're not going to last because you just slip back in.
And that's why, like, sometimes it's hard to tell yourself like, I am a graphic designer now, right? Because you're like, your conscious brain is like, not really, no, you're not. And you're like, I am. And it's like, no, you're not. But what if you were to say, I'm becoming an amazing graphic designer. I'm becoming a practicing Muslim, right? That you'll feel a lot less resistance. And at the same time, you'll get some benefit of that, the belief in yourself that, that you're building up.
Yeah, I think there's a level of time that needs to be given to it. Like, okay, let's say hypothetically, I'd never designed anything in my life. I've opened up Photoshop today for the first time, and I've made some sort of amateur drawing or whatever.
Yeah,
I post it or I share that or however. Can I, after that one piece, say I'm a graphic designer now? However,
definitely you can.
well, I've graphically designed this one piece.
Yeah.
But is it? I wouldn't be comfortable saying that.
But
However,
what do you mean comfortable? Like to yourself or like to...
to myself or labeling myself as that. However,
But it's up to you, really.
Yeah, but I think everyone needs to be. I think everyone needs to be realistic about the goals they set themselves, but not too sort of restrictive. Because for me, if I did that for a straight week, and like let's say for a week I'd produce 7 pieces, or even not even a week. Like let's just say in general, I put 3 things out. Right, I've produced 3 pieces of work. Then I wouldn't want to restrict myself. I'd say, yeah, I do this. Like, look, I've got 3 pieces. It doesn't matter. Because one can be a one-hit wonder, really and truthfully. And it could be something that, and when I say one-hit wonder, I'm not talking about people's reception. I'm talking about you falling off of it. Because if I haven't designed anything in 4 months, 5 months, 2 years, am I still what I said I was? I don't think I am. Do you understand?
I think at the level, a very basic level of just saying I'm a designer, really, bro, like if you've scribbled on a paper, you can say that. We're not saying you're good. We're just saying I'm a designer. I just have that identity that I'm a designer. It could just be that you're taking interest in it and you've scribbled something on a paper. And if that belief serves you, then believe it. Like, you're not like going around saying you're amazing. I'm not saying that, but I'm a designer. Like, literally, why not?
How many episodes of Mind Heist did you have to do before you called yourself a podcaster?
Yeah, I mean, I do say I'm a podcaster, like, to myself.
I've never used that word. I've never used that to describe myself. But now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, we're like 168 episodes in. We should.
No, we absolutely are podcasters. But this is the thing, bro. Like, I could have done 1 episode and call myself a podcaster. Why not? I've done a podcast. Why not? Like,
that's you, bro.
It's up. No, but I'm saying it's completely up to you to say that or not say that.
Yeah.
There's no exam board checking, does he comply with this and this and this?
What about the internet, bro? What about the comments? What about the haters?
I think at that level of just identifying as something, it's just about what's going to serve you in terms of going on to accomplish that thing kind of thing. Like I call myself a coach. I called myself a coach before I ever took any course on coaching. Like now I have taken a course on coaching, but I called myself a coach because I just coached people, So I was like, and the first time I coached people, it's not that I knew how to coach per se. It's just I knew a certain subject area and I was helping them with that subject area. And then at the end, I was like, oh, I guess that was coaching. Okay, now I'm a coach.
Yeah, it's all linguistics, isn't it? It's like when I was writing, so like with my LinkedIn, I had 2 choices, really. It was like either go down the path of my normal day job style, profile. So make a profile that is very much in line with what I do in my normal day job, or make a profile for my alter ego lifestyle, where it's like, maybe more the creative side of the podcast, pure XI, graphic design, all the media stuff that I've done, that kind of thing. And I'd originally gone with the first option, and I was like, oh, I'm just doing the same thing I've always done all the time, which is down this road, right? And then obviously I spoke to Muhammad, and he said what he said, and I was like, no, do you know what? I'm going to own this. I'm going to try and own it. So I went back to that, and I was like, what should I put? And then, when I put it in paper, like pure XI, for example, I did everything on that, in terms of branding, lead design, identity, brand direction, buying, all of that sort of stuff. So damn right, I put down brand direction and lead designer on my headline.
Yes.
Because I did it. And I consider it was successful, especially for for the audience I had, it was successful. I think if I pumped in, money in marketing, bro, I'd be, alhamdulillah. But that was it. I don't think there was anything stopping me from going further with
Yeah.
that. And I call it a success just from that.
Of course,
you know.
yeah. And
So
again, this is a good example of meaning, right? Because like you created a like an online store with your designs and stuff, and I did the same. And then I also was working on a Muslim Box Co. And the meaning I give to those things is that, yeah, like I've done e-commerce, like you could say successfully,
absolutely.
profitably, yeah. Like I've done that. And the meaning I gave it back then, at least, like when I was maybe towards the end of working on Muslim Box Co, I already stopped working on the clothing side of things. The meaning I gave those experiences is that I know how to market. I know how to design stuff. I know it, like, I probably know like top 15% in the world about that industry. So that's the meaning I took, and the benefit I got from having, like, choosing to have that meaning associated with the experience is that I was like more confident about business, about marketing. Like then when I went and I had clients in different industries when it comes to marketing, then I was like, okay, I've done that, like another industry and then another industry. And now, like, of course, I still question myself sometimes, but now I'm like, okay, I've probably done marketing in 6 different industries or something at this point. So that's a story, that's meaning I can give myself to say, yeah, you are good at marketing. You can charge X, Y, Z, right? You can add a 0 to what you'd be comfortable charging.
That's it. And it's falling victim to the mentality, especially when the thing is before in your history, in all of our histories really, for those that went to public schools, is that we've been waiting for people to give us a qualification.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
This is your qualification. Now you can say you're this. You've got a bachelor's, you've got a master's, you've got this.
Yes.
Whilst when you're out in the real world, you're not necessarily going to be told that you've achieved these things. So it's hard to recognize it.
Yeah. And like the whole thing of you don't take action first. I used to think, and I think most people think, that you take action. When you take action and you get results, then you have the belief that you're good at that thing, and then you kind of redo it again and again. But that's wrong. It's actually, you need to believe first, at least to some extent. You believe, then you take action, then you get results, and then the results feed back into the belief to make the belief stronger, right? So belief actually comes first. But sometimes you're like, well, where can this belief come from? Like, I've never done any graphic design. How can I believe I'm good at it? And that's where sometimes you need to do something that you never would do at school, which is look into your past and try and find any proof you have at all that you take interest in graphic design, or you've done design, or you've done this and that, whatever it is. Of course, the design just the example. And you actually go into your past and you try and pull to your present any proof at all you have that you have competency in that thing. Or even just passion. Sometimes passion is enough to get you started as well. Like if I believe I'm passionate about writing, you think that's going to make me more or less confident to start writing stuff? And make me more confident, right? So sometimes just pulling those things from the past and gathering all these little proofs that, I've got some footing in this place, will help you,
I think, definitely. You'd be surprised. Like loads of things. There's so much that if you really list it out, you'd be surprised. Like when you fill in all the skills that you've got on LinkedIn. Like I started running out of space on a lot of sections because I was like, because you could go forever really, and I could really
flex it. You could go forever, bro. It's you, bro. It's all you.
You could, bro. I've got stakeholder management. You know how many kids I've got. I've got to make sure this one was. One wanted to watch Paddington. The other one wanted to watch some like sea monster movie. They weren't agreeing, bro. I had to delegate, bro.
Risk assessment,
bro. Trust me. There's so much though, man. There is so much, and actually, I think people don't. I didn't give myself that much credit, and I'm sure there's a lot of brothers and sisters that fall into the same sort of trap.
This is if you think about it, it's a very, very big problem. Like if you think about like anything you've wanted to accomplish, it's mostly you holding you back, right? I know that's true with me. It's myself holding me back, whether it's my action taking or my psychology, my mindset around it. And the action taking, I bring that back to the meaning I'm giving different things. So if we had Muslims who were not struggling in this side of things, like we would have a lot more action takers, a lot more people feeling like, let me give it a try, let me give it a stab,
But people people decimate their self-esteem. People absolutely ruin their self-esteem in we're gonna say the magic words again, social media land, but it is the one of the biggest destroyers of self-esteem. Prior to this, I remember, like, and I've said it before social media, you could go to school, your self-esteem would get decimated at school by other people, but you could go home and be whoever you wanted to be.
Absolutely.
You could go home and you could do and be and create and whatever.
That close bubble of friends were not editing,
Yeah.
their highlights to look a certain way as well.
Absolutely. So that was the freedom of that kind of living. Now that decimation follows you home, and now it's like, seeing the creme de la creme and the filtered and the highlighted version of whatever it is you want to do. Whether it's graphic design, like, okay, here's an example. I'll give you an example because I am posting graphic design content now, and I've started posting like time lapses of the work I do.
Yeah.
Okay? Let me be 100% honest. You think I just make that stuff just like that, non-stop? Bro, I've got two hotkeys on my keyboard. One's record and one's pause recording.
Yeah.
Bro, I will do something. I'll pause recording. I'll sit there. I'll walk around. I'll think about it. I'll try something.
Yeah.
Like, I'll try something without recording it first to see if that's going to be what I want it to be. Oh, no, I don't like that. Forget that. I haven't recorded that, so I'll start back from where I started. Do you know what I mean? I'll go back and forth. There's been stuff that I've made, I've deleted. I'm just like, nah, this was awful. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, because I've sped it up so it's 35 seconds, you don't see how long. Like, one of the things, it was like 45 minutes, and I was just sat there like for long pauses, just like, what do I do with this now?
Yeah.
But when you speed it up to 35 seconds, it's like a second, and that's it. You don't see how long that's just this, which is like the mildest form. Imagine everything else. Like, I'll tell you what really irks me, bro. You ready? My house listeners, you ready? What irks me? These day in the life videos. Oh my God. Have you seen these?
I think we discussed this on another episode.
Did we? Have we really? Because I feel like we haven't. I feel like I haven't had my run.
Bro, go have it.
Bro, it's like, let me put this camera up. Okay, let me just pretend that I've just walked into my house. I've walked through the door now. All right, run.
The Casey Neistat.
Yeah. All right, pause that. Okay. I'm walking to the shop. Right, let me run over here, put the camera on the bush, run all the way back, then pretend I've just walked across. All right, grab that. Yeah, sweet. It's like pretending like you're some sort of like in a documentary in your natural habitat. You just need David Attenborough to start narrating your life.
I mean, but if you think about it, that's how movies are made.
Yeah, but...
And how is that not a movie? Is it because it's pretending that it's real?
Yes, because the lines are blurred. Because it's, number one, like, if there was someone filming you and your day, like, if you're being sincere about it, and like, hey, this is what I'm doing today, blah, 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 follow me, and you're kind of like recording stuff as you go, that's fine. If you've got a third party that's recording you as well, that's fine. If you're in a movie and it's all fake, and everybody knows it's fake, we're watching it because it's fake, that's fine. But what irks me, and I get it, there's creativity there, and I get it, I can appreciate the stylism and all of that. It's this in-between genre that I don't like.
Fake
it's
but
like,
real.
Yeah, it's like fake but real. It's like I'm doing my day, but I'm fake. Not.
It's like pretending to be authentic, but not being authentic, kind of thing. It's interesting.
My wife,
I think it was Casey Neistat who pioneered that whole put the camera down and all that, right? But I think, if I remember correctly, he used to include in the film, leave it in, the bit where he's going up and picking up the camera again, right?
Yeah.
So he used to give you a peek of the fact that he's gone, set that on, walk past.
My issue isn't the picking up the camera.
Yeah.
My issue is cutting out the putting it down. Because that's where the fakeness is. Picking up the camera, that's fine. That's like the closure of a video. But walking all the way up to the spot where the camera is, then walking all the way back just to pretend you walk past again, that drives me insane. I was going to say, my wife absolutely hates watching anything with me now because I cannot stop commenting on the way things are made. For example, like, you could watch a documentary or a film or something, and it could be like this really emotive moment or something, and I'll always turn to her and be like, someone had to set the camera up for that particular shot. So that kind of takes away all of the the naturalness of this
Yeah.
shot for me, because I know that it had to be framed and organized and probably reshot in this particular way. So all of this isn't authentic. I can't sit with this. I can't deal with it. And you'd
Or
be like, why can't you just
rewind
watch
it.
something and enjoy it?
Yeah.
All the time, man.
Sometimes we want to believe the lie, if you like. It's not a lie, but we want to be entertained, really.
That's what YouTubing has done, and I think anyone who's dipped their toe into any sort of creative space or camera work or media production or whatever, you automatically become really critical, and you become critical of things in your field. Like I've seen documentaries and stuff about my line of work, and straight away it's unwatchable, and it's just like, oh, that's wrong. No, that wouldn't happen. No,
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the same for anyone else in any expert field.
Yes.
But maybe I'm just a hater, bro. I am definitely a hater. I just can't deal with those. It's so much of them as well.
I think
so much of them.
I'm
bro.
absolutely a hater. My business partner Mohammed always mentions it again and again. Like I've got a negative worldview or a skeptical kind of worldview.
You're just Algerian, bro.
Yeah, whatever it is, man. Got it from my dad, maybe, but it's not good, I don't think it's good. There are some benefits of it, like when you're giving feedback. I'm good at giving feedback because I focus on negative, so I focus on what could be better, right? But that's kind of where the benefits end.
I mean, it's good. Look, you're going to have strengths that I won't have, and I might have strengths. Like, for example, I've been getting really frustrated at work lately, and I'm struggling to express my frustration out of fear of the negative fallout that could have. So, like, my wife will advise me, like, listen, if you're not happy with this particular thing or the way things are going, they're not going to know you're upset about it, or you feel like you've been played about, disrespected, or whatever, unless you say something. But my concern is like making the situation even harder and more uncomfortable being in, because I've now expressed my distaste or this dislike for this particular situation.
Yeah.
So for example, if like I don't like this particular email someone sent me, or I've done a particular job and someone's not happy with it, but actually I'm more annoyed with the fact that they haven't done anything or they haven't helped or whatever. I don't want that enclosed small team environment to then become bitter and toxic, because because if I'm patient and I be quiet and I let it slide, tomorrow will be fine. Do you get me? And I can just carry on normal until the next issue happens. However, the risk is if I bring it up and make a scene out of it, that's going to perpetuate.
That awkwardness will last days or weeks.
Yeah, and it won't, especially if you're speaking to someone more senior than you, you've got an issue. Yeah, when it's seniority, like imagine your boss, right? And you've got an issue with the way your boss does a particular thing. Like if you bring it up and you're critical or whatever, there's that risk, isn't there, that will follow you for days, months, for the rest. Like you'll start getting all the crap work, and you'll start getting all the,
absolutely.
So it's
that's
trying
why
to balance that.
That's why that whole corporate rubbish is so bad for high performance, because for high performance, like to have a culture of high performance, you need everyone to be able to critique stuff to a certain level. And that corporate rubbish just encourages sucking up. It's no good, man, at all. I think the way I am now, at least, because always open to being able to change if I chose to, but the way I am now, I think I really would not last long in that kind of setup, because I would just I'd be aware of what you just said, right? That if I say something out loud, it might last, it might come back and get me later. But I'm just that type that just say it.
But the thing is, that the environment isn't going to change even if you say it. Like like the chance of it changing is so slim that isn't even worth exploding the headache. Because I'll give you an example. Like I've always been I've always tried to teach myself that with any sort of criticism, like external criticism, for example, let's say you work in a customer service and you've got a complaint, right? And okay, here's two scenarios. The complaint comes to your boss. Okay, your boss is like, "Oh, screw this person. We don't need to listen to them. Whatever." Right? That's tends to be what I see is the normal response. It's like, forget about it. Move on to the next customer. Right? And this happened to me recently, and I'll say customer. Like, I was with very senior person in my organization. Right? Really, really senior. And we're speaking to a customer, so to speak, comes up to us, starts complaining, but he's very eloquent and very well spoken. very, very like, bro, I thought I was talking to the king or queen right now. But what he was saying was like typical criticisms, right? This senior member of staff that was with me, he was like, "Do you know what? I'm not even going to talk to you." Blah blah blah, and he just stormed off. Like, didn't even give him 5 minutes, bro. I couldn't do that. I wanted to take away the anger this guy had, and I wanted to talk to him about what the problem was. And I was sat talking to him for an hour and a half, bro. And we were just talking,
Whoa.
talking. And I was just letting him, and I was going, having a bit of a debate here and there. And despite the fact I didn't change his opinion, he got to see things from an internal perspective a bit more, because you always assume things should work the way you think they should work. But when you don't know the nitty gritty of it, you won't know how the organization is going to work. And then I've understood as well where his grievances come from and stuff. And that way, I've now been able to kind of better internalize that in my day to day and try and not let those mistakes happen and stuff. But straight away, like I said, the senior members can just switch off and disappear. And it reminds me there of what you said. There's no wonder nothing good can happen, or no change can really happen, if I can't critique those that are above me without fear of repercussion. Because who do I critique them to? Like,
Yeah.
if I have an issue with you and you're the same level as me, well, I can go speak to so and so, our boss, and say, listen, Ameen's not pulling his weight lately. Like, I really want to do this project, but he's just not, And then I'd say to them, look, just don't tell him I said this. Just, advise him in your own way.
Yeah.
And then I could be out of the firing line.
Yeah.
But when it's the boss, who else are you going to go to? Another
You have
boss?
to skip the chain of command.
And that's the problem.
Which is something I did actually, and I got fired.
Well, look at to make this more beneficial. Look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and look at his openness to being advised by even his wives, and seeking advice or seeking counsel from his wives, and the Sahaba as well. The Khalifa, the Amir al-Mu'mineen, would seek advice from a council of people, a shura system.
Yeah.
And there was that the deleting of that ego, the deleting of that authority complex, that quote unquote God complex, that that I am the be all end all complex. I think that's so valuable, because if I'm steering the ship into the ground and I just don't see it because I'm blinded by the fact that I think I'm right, actually, not to divert into too much of a tangent, but I saw some of the brothers recently, and I'll mention Musa Adnan, because Musa Adnan was one of the brothers. And me and Musa Adnan had a bit of a disagreement about a particular subject, right? And I hope he does it. You shouldn't mind me saying this, because it was really beneficial. We had a disagreement about something. We're going back and forth. I don't think we'd ever disagreed to this level before, And I was getting very emotional about it. And I really thought and I still do think I'm right, but I was really passionate. Like, how could you take this? How could you? Anyway, bro, eventually he completely shut that discussion, and he was like, bro, you need to realize the way you're talking right now. He completely broke down everything about my psyche and the way I was speaking and stuff, and how I need to essentially realize that just because I'm super passionate about something doesn't mean it's always going to be agreed upon, and I need to learn to accept differences in certain worldviews.
You can't convince someone just by virtue of your conviction in something.
Yeah, just by the virtue, the perceived virtue of the thing itself. I thought that this thing that I believed in, and I still do, was inherently good, and inherently good position to be in. But when he broke it down, and he gave me a beautiful example. He said to me, because what we realize is there's a lot of things that I've picked up, mainly because I'm from a completely different neck of the woods in the UK. So I've got different culture, different background, different upbringing. All of these brothers I'm friends with are from London, inner city area, very sort of tough upbringing compared to me and that. And they've got a very different kind of perspective. So I'll have my grievances, like the way people drive or the lack of manners or whatever. What's happened is when I started practicing, I've taken a lot of those perceived goods, even if they're not explicitly written in the Quran or Sunnah, I've taken those with me and just assumed they are the be all end all good deeds. And anything other than that is wrong. And he gave me an example to counter and to challenge this worldview. He said to me, if I was to go into Ameen's house, I was in Ameen's house, and I saw, I don't know, some sugar like this, or I saw some sort of perfume or something. He said, if Ameen wasn't looking, and you believe that he would let you use it, would you take it? if I sincerely believe that you wouldn't mind me borrowing some sugar, I am your neighbor.
Yeah.
I said, absolutely not. No, what if I'm wrong? Like I said, no way. Like I've got to ask his permission. Like Allah's watching me, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And he basically said, well, there you go, because he pulled out these narrations from it was either scholars or ulama or fatwa or something along those lines. I think it was the fatwa he read out to me, and he was like, if you sincerely believe that your friend or whatever will let you have it, there's no problem whatsoever in taking it. And that, I know, it's such a small and minor example, but that just blew me away because then I realized, there's so many other perceived norms, perceived things, manners, cultural norms that I perceive as, universally right and universally the thing to do all the time. And actually, that's not the case. And bro, that night we were up until like 2, 3 a.m., all breaking down each other's sort of faults in a very beneficial way. Bro, I left that gathering so, like, I remember telling my wife, I felt like they've literally broke me apart piece by piece and laid me bare on the table. And then I realized all of the issues that I may have and where they've come from and how I've got to that state. And as a father and as a husband and as a leader of my household, it was one of the most beneficial things for me to go through that. And I pray everybody has the opportunity to be able to sincerely take that kind of advice from people, because I remember sitting in the car, bro, when the argument got a bit heated, and I was like fighting my nefs not to kick these boys out of my car and just drive off. And I remember having a very solid moment thinking, right, there could be khair in this. There could be something that Allah's trying to tell me through this nasiha. I should just give them a chance. Let me just hear them out. Let me just try and be quiet. Let me just try and hear them out, see what this criticism is. And actually, ultimately they were right. There was a few things that they were definitely right about. One of the issues was actually, bro, like this Mind Heist podcast, we've done 178 episodes or something, 68?
68. Yeah.
We rarely disagree, right?
Yeah.
You're the person I talk to every week, and more than anyone else, really, apart from my own family. We rarely disagree about things. So that's more confirmation bias for me, that the world sees the way I do.
Yeah.
My family, they often see the world the way I do.
Yeah.
Everyone around me often sees the world the way I do. But now I'm in an arena with people with different upbringings, different cultures, different backgrounds, and I'm clashing about loads of different issues.
Yeah.
But have you ever had an experience like that where you just felt absolutely decimated and built back up again?
I did actually about a year ago. I wouldn't say it was like you made it sound pretty deep. I wouldn't say it was deep. But a couple of my friends from school days, we did a bit of a psychoanalysis session of each other.
Yeah.
Which was, definitely beneficial, man. And I feel like you need people who you're not maybe emotionally involved with to do that, right? Like imagine your wife doing that with you versus friends. Like with your friends, you feel like, I don't know. I feel like there's nothing to lose with my friends. Like they know I'm just a loser and they could just, but with my wife, I want to like keep some sort of dignity or whatever. So I think that's beautiful, bro. I think that's the beauty. It's also it's the beauty of being men as well, because I can't imagine women being able to do that.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
And you also have a lot of men though that can't take that. And you might think, oh yeah, he's got kind of pride or he's got pride and dignity and that's why he would take it. And yeah, that's masculine. But no, I think it's masculine to be able to take that criticism, take on the chin and be humble about it. And yeah, it's very beneficial, bro, because, people will always see things you don't see. And it's not sometimes like maybe all of those things that my friends told me, I knew deep down. But to have someone say it and say it to you black and white and say it to your face, it's really, it's more beneficial, I think, more beneficial.
Yeah.
And that's why we need, like you said, you if you like interact, you spend time with me, if you like, and your family, and we kind of generally agree on a lot of things. That's why you can't just have like your coworkers that you don't really talk to much, and then your family that you agree with and your very close friends. You need to have those people who maybe you play football with, but you're not that close friends.
Yeah.
Those, because they're going to think differently to you. That's like, if they thought exactly like you, you'd probably be very good friends. But the fact that you're not very good friends, but you just like play football once a week or whatever together, that means that they're at a good enough distance that they're going to question you and challenge you, and that's beneficial. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we hear about these narrations about certain souls that meet each other and they either get on or they don't. And that's because of. And I always thought a lot about that and how some of my closest friends throughout the years have always had a very similar personality to each other. And they're very different to mine. In fact, the complete opposite. And I will disagree with them a lot, and we will argue a lot, and we will. But there's something about that relationship that I do treasure and I do value, because I do remember when I was at school, I had a friend that we were friends. We were friends. I mean, we liked the same stuff. We were into a lot of the same stuff. We had the same lessons together. We used to walk the same way to school. But bro, I could never, ever, ever say anything that he would disagree with. Like, and he was very like, it was like a yes man almost. It was like a yes man.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, I didn't even back then. I didn't have anyone I could talk to about this sort of stuff. But I was thinking it in my head, and I was just like, man, I'm getting so bored of hanging out with this guy. No, I swear to God, like, it was without choice that I was always there with him, because we walked to school together, walked back together, had loads of lessons together. And I was like, dude, like, this guy just never like says anything other than what I say, like agrees, like, oh, that's funny, oh yeah, that is funny,
That is
oh, have you
boring.
seen that, oh yeah, did you like that show, yeah I did, oh yeah, me too, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it was always yes.
The skeptic in me would be like, what does this guy want from me? Why is he agreeing with everything?
But it does remind me of, like, even relationships, like romantic relationships with spouses and stuff. You know, you see these. God, I did see a clip of Jordan Peterson. I'm falling off of him a lot. I'm not even going to mention this video that he did, but I'm falling off of him. I was falling off of him anyway, because I just feel like. Do you know what? I fell off of him when I realized he's selling busts of his head on his website.
Is he?
Well, yeah, bro. He's selling like busts of his head, like he's like the next Darwin.
You mentioned God complex. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. But he was doing some. I think it's an old clip about couples counseling, and it was just about this balance that you've got to have of not always agreeing, not always getting on, not always saying yes, having some sort of friction here and there. Otherwise, there's a certain level of boredom. There's a certain level of mundane in that relationship. There's a certain level of you've got nowhere to go.
Familiarity.
Yeah, you've got nowhere to go, and you always, I think, as human beings, need to feel like you're heading towards something, you know, and not stuck in a loop. Did you find it? I feel like you've just looked it up.
I have.
I did.
I'm on his website.
True?
He's got t-shirts with lobsters on. I like that, bro. That's like leaning into the memes. So I'm seeing paintings and stuff, homeware, accessories.
Maybe it's not there anymore. Here we go. It was on Reddit. JP is selling a statue of himself. Yeah. There's a tweet of him saying, it's from ateliermisor.com.
Okay.
And I think it's...
what's Monsieur or what?
It's MISSOR. Now, to be fair, I don't know if he's the one who made it, but yeah, it's all here. But it was
okay. I see.
He tweeted it out.
This is a joke, bro.
So look, he's got Mark. That's Marcus Aurelius. Oh, it's all French, isn't it? So that's why. So you've got Marcus Aurelius. You've got Napoleon. You've got Nietzsche.
Yeah.
But he's in the middle of them.
Yeah,
so he's on par with Napoleon and Marcus Aurelius.
That's ridiculous.
But the thing is,
got Jeanne d'Arc and flipping Chopin.
There is something to be said about this.
Yeah.
Because, yes, right now it's funny and it's laughable.
Yeah.
But bro, the moment he dies,
yeah,
they will memorialize him like he was Marcus Aurelius. They will memorialize him like he was Darwin.
I don't know if memorialize him like he was.
They will, though. His people will do it because nobody is sinless and amazing and incredible and a legend until they die. You know, no one is.
Yeah,
really. Apart from obviously the prophets.
Bro, I can't stop laughing at this. It's 400 euros.
Come on, bro, let's get some.
Bro, it would be, this kind of thing would be tacky of anyone, unless, obviously I would never get a statue or whatever, but I'm saying it's tacky to have this kind of thing of someone who's alive. It's just,
it's
alive, just tacky.
Yeah.
Like, Like, let the guy die, then make it. But I don't think he did this, right? This is someone,
No, but
another
he
business.
yeah, there's a screenshot of him tweeting it out saying free
Was he
shipping.
laughing at it, or oh, he's
No, he
appreciating it?
yeah, he was appreciating like, oh
Yeah.
look, they got
I
free
mean,
shipping. Like, buy it, buy my head.
yeah, no comment.
Come on, bro. Me and you, we get a little mic with the microphone on there.
Yeah, like a
Podcasters.
yes for the 200th
But
episode.
like, we need to do like a very Renaissance kind of pose.
Yeah,
You know?
serious kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you don't bat an eyelid at all that stuff and the statues that you see in the West and stuff. But if it was of someone that's still around, you'd kind of be like, ugh. Well,
yeah.
that's
I think
weird.
it's always been that way, right? I like the
Yeah.
lobster T-shirt. That's, you know what, he acts serious, but he's got that side of him where he likes to provoke people, and I think deep down he kind of enjoys it, and he likes to lean into memes now and then, and you know.
Well,
I think
they've
look,
memed him now. He's got that up yours woke moralists meme. Oh god, I can't stop saying that.
what you were saying about this whole thing where Musa Adnan was trying to show you how you see things differently to others and this and that. That goes back to what we were saying at the beginning, which is there is the facts and there is the meaning.
Yeah.
And everything you see, you're not seeing the thing, you're seeing your meaning that you give to it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I wanted to say something actually about the graphic design, bro. I would give you a tip.
Oh no, on air tip. Well, you're gonna decimate me now.
Yeah, I mean, well, you tell me first, like, what's your dream situation set up with the whole graphic design thing? Like, if you were to
I'm still
make
exploring
money
that.
out of it.
Yeah, I'm still exploring that at the moment. So, like, the first step for me, which it's a long time coming, is just to confirm that is like I am that, because
Okay.
before it'd be like, yeah, I dabble in it sometimes. Yeah, it's a hobby. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
But it
Like,
absolutely is a hobby, right? That's established, right? In your head.
Yeah, but there's a difference, I think, between like a hobby that I'm trying out and a hobby that I can
Okay.
like.
That's overthinking. Hashtag
No,
overthinking.
I don't know. For me, at least, that's the way I perceive it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I made a wooden, I don't know, shelf once versus, oh, like I do carpentry on my spare time.
Bro, you've been doing this for years and years. You put out the backgrounds, right? Bro, you've been charging people for this stuff. How dare you if you don't think it's good and it's like worthy? How dare you charge us?
Yeah, this is it. It's hard, but that's another
So
thing. Like,
deep down, you do
let's-
believe it's worth something.
Yes,
and
but look,
it's-
even that, like, even charging for something like this,
Yeah.
or charging for that in and of itself is such a large step. Like, I spoke to a lot of other Muslim graphic designers I'm close with, friends with, and stuff,
Yeah.
and we had these discussions, and like one of them is like, oh, dude, I don't know how much to charge. Like, that's always one thing. It's like, I don't know how much to charge. Well, charge how much do you value your time and how much do you value your work? So that idea of value, but it goes back to that initial conversation we had. If you don't class yourself as this thing, you're not going to value the work that you do that highly, so you won't charge that much for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there was,
But you have charged, so you have crossed
oh no,
that line.
absolutely, yes.
You've crossed that line, yeah.
Even so, I would argue that I'm probably still not charging enough for what I do when I
Sure.
do charge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? However, it's a slow battle, and I think actually maybe naturally anyone who gets good at anything goes through these stages anyway.
Yeah,
But that is one step. The one step is obviously labeling yourself as that thing. Like, okay, this is a profession for me now, or this is a thing for me, or this is who I am, or this is what I do. Another thing is then being comfortable, strong enough, believe in yourself enough to charge for what you think it's worth, despite the outcome of whatever that is you charge. Because you're going to have clients that don't have the money. You're going to have clients that want freebies. You're going to have clients that do want to pay. In fact, you're going to have clients that want to pay more.
Yeah.
I've had clients that haven't batted an eyelid, bro. Like, and I've named prices where I'm considering they're going to go, oh,
No way.
and they've been like, boom, what's your PayPal address?
Yeah.
I mean? No questions asked, no
If
haggling,
they don't
no
go,
nothing.
then you said the too low number.
Maybe too low, yeah. But for me at the time, especially when I've never been, in that environment before, it's new and it's a learning experience. But there's definitely some people that have been like, oh, I'll get back to you. Oh, let me check somewhere else, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes a reflection of your prices. That's sometimes a reflection of the clientele and the customer base that you've got access to. But ultimately, something like this, I 100% see it's a craft that you just keep learning as you go, and you'll never get there. You'll never, like, every time I get on Photoshop, I'll try something. I'll try something new. I'll be like, oh, what does this do? Actually, let me try this. And boom, I learned it. Like, bro, one example is like I was doing cutouts manually for so long, and then I found this like object select tool that I'd never really clicked on before. Despite the fact I've been using this software since I was 13, I tried it and I was like, oh, my computer's going to die. Like, my computer started having a meltdown. It was like, and then it finally loaded, and I was like, whoa, it just did everything I needed it to do for me. That's great.
Oh, so it's like the AI select kind of thing.
Yeah, it's an AI select thing, but it's a bit more. Yeah, it's a bit more versatile.
But bro, that stuff is irrelevant when it comes to making money from this.
No, I know. That's something. But I think what you do need a certain core level of skill in particular thing. For example, with graphic design, you need to be. You know, I listen to a lot of The Future, and is it Chris?
Oh yeah, Chris Do.
Yeah, Chris Do.
Bro, if you listen to him, then you know the deal, bro.
Well, I don't listen to any long form stuff, and I really want to, but it's more the short clips they pumps out and the short little.
Yeah.
And even though that's enough for me, like that kind of gets me in the right framework. But can't remember where I was going with it. But yeah, you need to be able to be a master of a select few fields, right? So here's one thing, like everyone, like I say everyone, lots of people in the Muslim scene, Muslim environment, Muslim online community, they start businesses left, right, and center. You know, whether it's old products, whether it's charity, whether it's whatever. Always want a logo. Always approach me for logos. I've never made logos. I don't do logos. You know, and that's not because I don't want to one day, but I just don't. I don't. Number one, the software to really create logos is something I'm learning. I'm really amateur in it. I'm never really
Illustrator
using it. Illustrator, yeah. I used it. First time I ever used it was for PureXI. Didn't go too badly. I did all right with PureXI. But now I'm actually on a course that I need to get back on. I haven't touched it in a few months. An Illustrator course in my spare time when I ever have any, just to kind of build that. However, I don't want to be like super broad and be like, oh, I make logos and I make posters and I do magazine art and I do it and I do that. Well, then I'm never going to be super great at one thing.
Yeah.
I really like posters and things akin to posters, like book covers or like, I don't know, publications on websites or pages or whatever, or adverts in that regard. But then if you start moving on to posters and moving onto logos, moving on to other stuff, you're spreading it too thinly. And I think it is about that, being a master of a select few things and finding your niche, because that is what people will go and search for. You know, when I go and search for, I don't know, cyberpunk logo, then I want to find that person who makes really sick cyberpunk logos, you know, or really good Victorian era logos or vintage logos. I'm not going to necessarily click on the person that has a broad range of various skills.
Graphic designer.
Yeah, and that's it. So
yeah, just
find. But I can hear the air going, bro. So how much time you got?
Oh, consider that's all I missed already.
Really?
I mean, missed in terms of not going to get to the masjid.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I knew that when we started.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, bro, with graphic design stuff, right? I think if you want to make real money out of it, it is a little bit tricky. Because a lot of things people don't pay much for. And that's like, there's just a standard situation where a logo, like just logo without branding, like a brand identity, if you like, you know, that's going for like sometimes like £50, £100, right? That's not, if you're doing, not doing template stuff, that's not probably going to be worth your time. And anyway, those people that are coming just for a logo and they're like not willing to pay that much, you don't want those as a client. I'm just sharing my experience, right? Because like as a marketing agency, we were often asked to do branding. And so we did some, alhamdulillah, very, very good branding. And we weren't designing it. We had a designer that we would pay to do it. But what we would do is we would brief them and we would give them concepts or ideas to get them started. And then we would select out of the 3 concepts, we would select the concept and we would help them iterate it and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly, but like to create a brand identity. So that's like a logo, and then like the colors and how to use the colors and the pattern that goes with it to use as backgrounds and these kind of things that all come together, the font and all that stuff. That, I feel like the minimum we ever charged for that was like £500. So that is getting there. But even then, I think it's difficult. Like if you want to do it full time, you're probably going to need to make like £2,000 to £3,000 a month, right? So even if you're charging, say again.
I was going to say, but shall I interject or shall I wait?
Yeah, go on. But what?
I was going to say, but it depends where you are. Depends
Oh
where you're
yeah,
living.
of course, yeah.
So
but
me,
even then,
like,
even if you're living in like Turkey, you know, you should, because you have access to the market where you can make that kind of money, you should aim to make that kind of money, right? Too many people that I know in Turkey, they're making enough to live here comfortably, and they kind of stay at a low level because of that. And you never know when you're going to need more money or
no doubt.
cost of living is going to go. So anyway, so I think, you know, the sweet spot for that kind of brand identity thing, sweeter spot is like £1,000 plus. And when you're charging that amount, all these new businesses, they go out the window, right? Especially like the Muslim ones, they kind of go out the window, right? You want to then, you're going to the more established companies, charities, this and that. And that where it's like, okay, £1,000. A lot of the Muslims, even if they're medium-sized company, they kind of not really feed in that price, but you might get it out of them, right? If you're good at selling and stuff like that, or they just want to get it done and stuff. So even then, so £1,000 a pop, you're going to need 2-3 of those a month, every single month to like make a living.
Yeah,
so,
of course,
so you need a lot of like leads coming in, right? And so it's a bit of a tricky one, I feel.
I think that's why, like, it's leveraging that with cultural capital as well. It's leveraging that with the popularity that you can garner yourself online and the noise that you can make in these spheres. Because there is something to be said when I go on a designer's profile and he's got 50 followers, and then I go on another one that I like and he's got 500,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? And despite the fact that the work isn't always that different, you know, and actually the level isn't always that different. I've seen some designers work 30 followers, 20 followers. I'm like, yo, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
And then I've seen some others I really like equally, and they've got 700,000 followers and stuff like that. And they've got billboards of their art and billboards of their work. And I'm just like, this is the modern. And that's why, like, there are so many, like, Instagram is just full. Your algorithm might not show it, but you know what it's like, the algorithm. As soon as you dip your toe into one topic, you suddenly get inundated with that topic.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, like, when I accidentally went down to like the Deliveroo rabbit hole on YouTube, bro, there was like thousands of these bloggers and stuff talking about make money on Deliveroo, follow me, Deliveroo, Deliveroo course.
Never knew that
stuff
existed.
You didn't know it exists until you dip your toe in it. Another day, a couple of days ago, I got into metal detecting. I don't know why. I just searched
finding treasure and stuff.
Yeah, I just thought, let me look at, bro, communities of that stuff.
Yeah.
I found this guy, it led me into mining. This guy found like this mining deposit where literally a piece of rock that much was $400, and he made 60,000 off this particular video, $60,000, and he was just like, yeah, this is going to sell for loads. And I'm like, dude, like, this community is for everything.
Wow.
But it's easy to be scared off by that, because the moment you dip your toe, you're like, oh, everyone's doing this. I'm going to try and move something else. Another one recently, these are just some obscure ones, but like there was another business idea of vending machines. So I didn't know about this. I never really considered it. I always use vending machines, but never really think about them.
Yeah.
And essentially people buy them, go and set them up at places, and obviously make that kind of residual income.
Yeah.
As soon as I watched one video on those vending machine businesses, bro, make money with vending machines, secrets, making money with vending machines, all these different videos from different people. And it's easy to look at that and be like, so many people are doing it already, I'm not going to do it.
It's actually a good sign usually when those things are happening.
Yeah.
When you
don't know about it. Do you know what I mean? You don't know about it because you haven't dipped your toe, and lots of people don't know about it because they haven't dipped their toe. So the opportunities are endless.
Absolutely, But actually the sweet spot with graphic design is like the stuff that like Chris Do does, where he might do a brand identity for 30K, 50K.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
That's where you're going to like the bigger businesses where, and if you watch his longer stuff, like his workshop recordings, he talks sick, like, because what he does is he talks to creative people and he gives them the business side, which they often lack.
100%,
right?
100%.
And really good way that he articulated it is when you go to a bigger company and they've got 1,000 cars, for example, delivery cars, the risk becomes high when you're doing a new brand for them. The risk is extremely high that it'll go wrong. So therefore, they're willing to pay more to reduce the risk. So the same brand identity that this guy's paying 1,000 for, this company would pay 50,000 more,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
50,000, right? So that's why especially Yanni, in graphic design, a lot of it is just to do with who you're selling to. If you're selling to bigger businesses, charging more,
Oh, no
making
doubt.
more
Yeah.
money, more comfortable, right?
Yeah,
I
no
remember
doubt.
there was one guy, it's funny, man, like he would work with these kind of big companies and he would kind of like, he's very casual. He didn't really sell very hard, but when they hire him, and I guess it may be from word of mouth that they found out about him, he would just be like, yeah, so the first way that we work together is we have a beautiful conversation, or something. He'd call it beautiful conversation.
Yeah.
So we sit down for like a few hours and I just learn about you and stuff. £1,000 rule for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then it's like a 12-month kind of contract where you pay him like £1,000 a month every month to like, just like think about what you should be doing, or like, you know, and the end result of this is like, I think he used to do branding, but also branding in the sense of what is the meaning behind your company, what is your vision, what this kind of stuff. But there you go, like I guess they're happy to pay £12,000 for a year of him like just thinking now and then.
Yeah, I guess. But if he sincerely values himself, what he's offering as well, that's where the sweet spot is.
They're
as
happy
well.
with it. Yeah,
As long as he's not a snake oil salesman and he knows he's selling nonsense. But like one of the strongest lessons I learned from Chris though is like the difference between hourly rates and just the flat rates.
Value, like
value, yeah.
thing.
So it's like, oh, what's your hourly rate with this piece of work that you're going to make for me? And I remember even early on thinking that, like I used to do that. I used to originally, and then I started just charging flat rates for particular for things.
Oh, definitely,
with conditions. With conditions, like okay, I can
how many revisions and all that.
3 times, but it can't be too far from what I can't start completely from scratch, unless you want to pay more, whatever.
Yes,
that changed the game as well. That absolutely changed the game.
Oh
for me.
yeah.
I'm trying to think. I've got examples like that. Like, boom, like I'll just do something simple and it'll be £100 flat rate, and that's what that's pretty much where I've been sitting for a long time. But for me, it's not. Although I love graphic design, I am still very much in the hobby arena, and because I enjoy it. And if I was to make it my full-time job, I'm scared the fun and the enjoyment would be sucked away from it, and the sweet spot would go, because I can't sit here and produce something great if I'm not inspired to do so, And it's art is very much an inspiration thing, I'm not going to charge you though. Like I'm not. That's for my own work. All the work I do at the moment is all my own stuff.
Yeah.
But when I have a client, I've got to really be in the. Like,
you need to be able to switch on and just.
For example, I'll say it to a lot of clients that come to me on the DMs and stuff. They'll be like, "Can you make me a thing for this and this and this?" And if I really am not feeling inspired by them and their brand, or I feel like I can provide something, I'll say I haven't got the availability now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if there's so many brands, bro, so many sort of clients, they'll say something. I'll look at their brand. I know who they are. I'm like, I know exactly what I want to do for you. Do you know what I mean? And I'm available because I've got that inspiration there and then. And for me, something like this, I wouldn't want it to be a full-time thing. I wouldn't want it to be my whole life.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'd want it. I'd want to combine it. I'd want to get it to like half.
Combine it with what?
I'd want to combine it with, I don't know, anything else that grants fulfillment.
Would you do like video editing?
No, laborious and painstaking, I think. Like right now, you get this hot and sweaty feeling just being sat on a computer for too long, like, and the programs are getting all. I don't know what the second thing would be.
I think I could do it.
I've done it for myself.
I could get into that. Like, I think I could enjoy it potentially.
Possibly, but once again, you could things with like that. Have you ever watched VFX React or Corridor Crew? Those kind of guys on YouTube.
No.
They're quite popular. Basically, they're all special effects editors for big movies and stuff.
Oh,
they sit down and they comment on other people's special effects in movies. But what they do is they bring in people that made these films, whether it's the Marvel movies, Star Wars, all this stuff, come and they'll sit down and talk about the effects. And they'll look at and critique other people's effects. The problem is they're all experts in their field.
Yes.
Not a problem, but what it does is it sheds light on how intricate and painstaking and laborious the process is. But clients and customers don't see that.
Absolutely.
They
Don't
just
appreciate it.
yeah, and like I said before, like with camera work, I mean, you've done camera work, you've done podcasting, you've done all sorts of stuff. Like we can look at a particular thing and be like, oh man, how did they do that? That would have taken so long. But that would just pass by an average viewer's mind. They would not appreciate the painstaking work that's gone into
Yeah.
that. And that's the thing with video editing. Like you can do some amazing cuts, edits, etc.
yes.
But bro, most editing is seamless. You don't notice it unless it goes wrong.
You shouldn't.
Like,
You shouldn't.
you shouldn't.
notice it, yeah.
But it's hard having that unrewarding kind of
Yeah, that's
work
true.
where you're like.
Although I think there's a sweet spot. Like, the effort to outcome ratio with movies is too much. I think
no doubt, yeah.
I think like the YouTube kind of level, depending on which YouTuber, but that kind of stuff. I mean, I have edited my own videos like recently,
Yeah, of course.
and I have enjoyed it. And I think the reason I didn't enjoy it years ago is because my computer was too slow. But I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was why. But now that my computer's fast, I enjoy it actually. And
100%.
and I actually have to fight myself not to add more, effects or more this and that.
100%.
And I'm just like, getting started kind of thing with it. But when it's like the right ratio of effort to like outcome, then I think it could be enjoyable. Just for me, I'm just saying like I could see myself.
I think like you're right about the tools. I know they say you should never blame your tools, but no, 100%. Like the difference between a system that is slick and just does the job is just worlds apart. Yeah, and that is why like I do most of the time. The reason why I don't create as much as I possibly could is because of the unfortunately ancient system and rig that I've got. Because I'll just be sat there, like most of my time just spent waiting and loading and waiting for it to unfreeze and pulling my hair out, But I know, bro, oh my God, if I had like a slick system, bro, I wouldn't leave the computer. So absolutely. No, I think it's important. I think there's always something to be said about the value of having something grounded, some grounded work as well. And I think that's where I want to sit. Like if I was to move abroad, even if it's Tunisia, because I've got the privilege of that foundation there, I wouldn't have to do a lot of graphic design, but I'd do enough to keep my skills in order.
Yeah.
Also, if I could, would be great. And I already do some of this anyway, is sell my own work alongside that, promote my own work, because then you've got the passion of your own stuff that you really believe in, as well as the service that you provide as well. And in that, you could do a three-pronged attack. You've got the services you provide for others, you've got your own work that you sell, and then you could also teach others the same skills, And actually, there you go. You've got 3 jobs or 3 roles in one in that regard.
Yeah.
And they could all be graphic design in that sense. And I do not discount, and I do believe that if I was to start a small YouTube series now, just to the local Muslims that I'm in, the circles that I have, or the other designers I engage with, or back and forth, a little lesson thing of this is how I make the tutorial videos I'm doing now, the sped up time lapses.
Yeah.
If they were slowed down tutorials, I know that I would get engagement, and I know I would get people interested in that. I just don't have the slick enough time, whatever, to do that right now. But I know it. If you were to do, bro, we've been talking, Mind Heist have been listening to you all this time. You open up coaching calls and mentoring and stuff every now and again, especially recently. I'm sure you've had people interested. I'm sure you have people that have inquired because, and even like your day job, bro, if people, if you said, I'm going to do a course or something about my day job, because people have listened to you for so long and value what you have to say and trust you as well, they would want to hear it.
Yeah.
They would want to hear it.
Actually,
Absolutely.
yesterday I was doing coaching call, for my business Muslim CEO, and someone came on and he said, I've been listening to your podcast for years and your YouTube stuff. And so I guess that trust built up. And then recently he bought our program, right? So
no doubt.
There we are,
No doubt. And I think that's also the benefit of having the podcast and having that human approach.
It's brand capital, if you like, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's why I invest in this and growing this, because I don't know exactly how, but I know it will build my personal brand and it will build the awareness and it will turn into money somehow down the line. I truly believe that. That's why I've put money into it.
And there's all sorts of benefits surrounding it. There's obviously material benefit. There is also emotional benefit, psychological benefit. There's all sorts of benefits.
Inshallah, ajr as well. Yeah.
Inshallah al-azim. And that's the thing. The main thing is, as long as you can as long as you can rationalize some sort of benefit out of it, then
Yeah.
keep going. I think ultimately,
Yeah.
unless you're absolutely like burnt out for time and some things have to go, then some things have to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as long as you've got the
I
ability,
think people are vastly underestimating the value of something like Mind Heist, something like a YouTube channel, like investing time and money into those things. Like it's actually it's very early days. I feel it's very very days
yeah.
for these things. It's crazy, but from the outside you kind of don't see that. You see just people popping up everywhere, but the reality is it's early days.
Which it's easy as well, isn't it? When you see, initially when you start podcasts, you're like, oh, so many Muslims are doing podcasts now. Oh, I don't know. Oh man, I'm gonna try and find something else that no one's done yet. Yeah, nah, dude, you know Oreos? Oreos,
Yeah.
they're not the original. Right?
Oh.
Oreos was the number two. Oreos copied it of something else, but you don't know about the other thing. You only know about Oreos, right?
Yeah.
And I always say that to myself, like all the things that you think are the first, they know they're the first. Hardly ever the first. They're
Yeah.
actually just an evolution or a reconceptualization of something that existed prior, right?
Yeah.
Mine Heist is Mine Heist, and we've been very consistent.
No, now Freshly Grounded's copying us, isn't it? So
Bro, going to UAE, bro, that was your thing.
that's old, like old version of me.
That was
That's
like episode 50. You.
yeah. Like, no, I mean that they're going away from the guest format to the more like chemistry one-on-one kind of thing.
Yeah.
Even like podcasts, like I remember it was more than a year ago. It was probably 3 years ago.
Yeah.
There were actually a lot of Muslim podcasts. Like I remember seeing them popping up, like new one. And like just from me, I had heard of 15, 20.
Yeah.
But whenever I come across them now, they stopped at like episode 12, episode 20. Or it's like they uploaded one recently, but then the one before that was like 2 months before that. So
That doesn't make me happy though. Like that, I wish they carried on because look, at the end of the day, when you rationalize,
I'm not saying I'm happy. I'm just saying
no,
that
of course,
it shows that there's space for you because
course.
out of all the podcasts I know, and I'm quite into podcasts, I don't know of any that's consistent in terms of Muslims except Mind Heist, Freshly Grounded. That's all I know. Even the Mad Mamluks, who I believe they were doing it full time, or they had quite a lot of Patreon support. Like they're not putting them out regularly. Feed's not putting them out. Islam 21C is not putting. Like, okay, the three Muslims I think are consistent. And Freshly Grounded and us, and I mean I'm sure there are others I've not heard of, but like,
yeah. But what if you were to put in like, bro? I like video games. Put in video game podcasts.
yeah,
Bro, there'll be thousands.
yeah,
And they'll all have audiences and listeners and all sorts.
Yeah,
Put in
yeah.
movie podcasts, loads and loads and loads and loads and loads. But why is it suddenly, oh, there's already a Muslim podcast, can't do it? Do you know what I mean? Why? There's already a gardening podcast. I'm not going to do one. You know?
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you understand? Like you could just stop at everything.
Yeah.
Do you think Tesla gave up when they realized there were so many different car manufacturers? They still make cars. Everyone else makes electric cars. It didn't put them out of business.
I mean, our niche, if you think about it podcast-wise, our niche is also our personality.
Yeah.
So the fact
it's
that
chemistry as well.
there will be no other me as a host or you as a host. There will be no other. And then our chemistry, there will be no other chemistry like that.
Yeah, no matter how interested you are in the topic or whatever.
Yeah.
If you find the people that are speaking about it absolutely irritable, and I'm sure there's people that find us irritable.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
also people that don't. And the ones that do can go, and they will go, and the ones that don't will stay, and that's just normal.
Yeah.
You're part of that community. And likewise, there's podcasts that, I like the topic. I can't stand these people. But that's nothing to do with them. That's just it goes back to what we were saying earlier about the affinity that people have with each other.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I think we have a lot of North African listeners.
Yeah, I'd like to think that, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, should we wrap up?
Let's wrap up.
I had other topics as well, so I'm glad we haven't used them because there were some good ones and they're worthy of a whole episode. So, yeah.
Why not?
Avida
We need
saying,
a guest, bro. We need a guest.
we need a guest.
Hey, do you want a guest on the Mind Heist podcast? Please send us an email at mindheistpodcast@gmail.com if you have a very, very cool, interesting story. You must go through a pre-vetting process and a fitness test.
3 interviews. VO2 max must be above.
Yep. First,
And
you
your
have to have
heart
it.
rate must be higher than Echi tweets.
Absolutely. And you have to have the Newman test to make sure that, and you have to come with a risk assessment form. And your first interview out of the 3 is with an AI generated system.
Interesting.
And you have to pay a flat fee.
Look, if you got the money, pay the fee. Yeah. We'll
If you
take
want us
that.
to, if you want to sponsor us, by the way, because there's a lot of business people out there. Listen, we got listeners. We got listeners, haven't we? I mean,
Yeah.
we got listeners. We have like thousands of all-time downloads because I did the numbers the other day. Like thousands and thousands and thousands.
I know the number. It's
I know
hundreds of thousands, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Yeah. If you want to get some exposure on the Mind Heist podcast and you want someone to sincerely advertise your product, because if it's crap, I will say it's crap. So make sure it's good. No. I'll say it needs improvement. What did we say earlier? Constructive criticism. Yeah, I could say, hey, look,
But
this
we just won't
really
say anything if we don't like it. But if we do like it, then
sponsor it. If we don't like it, you're just getting a link. This product might
potentially possibly be good. Yes.
But no, if you have a business, a company, or whatever, and you want to get the word out there, and you feel like our listeners, our audience, even me and Ameen will be interested in it, let us know. Drop us an email, mindhouspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll work something out. Yes, Ameen? Do you agree?
I do agree.
I agree. Agreed.
I do agree. I just bought a microphone, right? This is annoying, yeah. This is the downside of Turkey. In the UK, the microphone is £85. In Turkey, it was £130.
Nice. That's what you get.
And that
Cheap
money
rate.
is like, all that extra money, what is that, about £50? That's going straight to Erdogan, bro. Straight to Turkey government.
Bro, you can't live there and reap the rewards. You can't even speak the language. Let him have his money.
Yeah, so be it. It's a lot of import tax, though. It's a high amount. It's a high amount. That's a big price difference. I was thinking, man, is there anyone coming from UK to Turkey so I could just get it like £50 off? But then I was like, you know what? I've got quite a few things to use this mic for, so I need it now.
I value
so,
it.
Yeah.
I could do with one of those. Hey, sponsor me with a new microphone.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Oh.
Okay, سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.